Alright, today we're going to bring together a couple of things, and let me show you. We're going to write equations based on the tables that we have. So let's look at something here. If we go, say, from 0 to get to 2, that's adding 2, and then from 2 to 4, again, that's adding 2. So let's see what's happening. When our x's are going up by 2, what do our y's do? Well, here, this looks from 8 to 4, it's going down 4. That's minus 4. And then from 4 to 0, it's minus 4. So we see that when the x's increase, the y's decrease. So we know that's going to be a negative correlation. We know it's going to be negative. So remember, to find our m value, we're going to put our x's over our y's, negative 4 over 2, and that's the same as negative 2. So I'm going to write here m equals negative 2. Then I'm going to write b equals, and then what I look for is where does x equal 0. That's how I know I'm on the y-axis, because x is always 0 on the y-axis. So I see x is 0, y is 8. Now I can fill in my equation. Now the basic form is y equals mx plus b. And we're going to fill in the m and the b part. I'm going to rewrite the y equals, my m is negative 2, and I'm going to write my x plus, and then instead of the b, I'm going to write 8. Alright. Now, it's not quite so clear-cut with number 2 because we're not seeing the 0 for the x. So what we should do is we should use our slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That simply means the y value from point 2 subtract the y value from point 1. So let's say that we call this point 1, and this will be point 2. So now all I have to do is fill in. So I'm going to take my second y value and subtract my first y value. Alright, well, this is going to be an update because, well, I made a mistake in the last one. So, number 2, let's look at how this looks, and I'm going to go ahead and make my corrections here. What I need to do is I need to plug my values from point 1 and point 2 and point 1 into our slope formula. So I'm going to take my two y values. I'm going to start with this one, subtract the 1 to the left of it. 2 minus, oh, not 2, 2 minus negative 4. Sorry about that. I about made another mistake. All right, so 2 minus negative 4 over, and then I might take my x values, 2 minus negative 1. 2 minus negative 1. So 2 minus negative 4 is actually 2 plus 4, which is 6. And then 2 minus negative 1 is 2 plus 1, which is 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So my slope equals 2. So what I'm going to do now is plug this in to a point slope formula, and that would be y minus, and it doesn't matter which of these I pick. I'm going to pick the positive numbers since most of you like working with positive numbers, equals, and then my slope times x minus, and then I'm going to take my x value from right here, 2. Oh, you know, I needed to put my, instead of m, I should have put my slope, which is 2. Alright. Let me make sure this says equals here. So 2, my slope is 2. So I do this, and now I'm going to simply solve this, and leave my y all by itself. And 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. So I have y minus 2 equals negative 4. So to isolate y, I need to add 2 to both sides. And I end up with y equals 2x minus 2. Now that's the corrected form. If you got the old one, I'm sorry. Hopefully this will look better for you. Alright. Number 3. The slope of a line is 4/5. So my slope, I'm going to write m equals 4 over 5. And then it passes through point 10, negative 10, 2. So again, we use that formula, the y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. Now, we only have 1 point, so we have to use this one. So I'm going to write y minus 2 equals, now my slope is 4/5 times x minus, it's always going to be minus, and then I'm going to put negative 10. So I can rewrite this as y minus 2 equals 4/5 times x plus 10. And if I distribute the 4/5 times x and the 4/5 times 10, I end up over here with 4/5 x minus 8. And over here I'm going to bring this part back over here, and that's y minus 2 equals, now to get y by itself, I add the 2 to both sides of the equal sign, and I end up with y equals 4/5 x, and negative 8 plus 2 is negative 6. And there's my answer right there. Alright. Number 4, we need to get y by itself. So take a moment and get y by itself. And you should come up with something like that. Now, I'm going to, right here, write my, well, what I want you to do is I want you to put that into a table in your calculator. So let me see if I can get this to come up for you. Let me get my calculator going. There we go. So I'm going to go to my y equals. Let me bring our equation back into view here. So I'm going to go to my y equals, and I'm going to put in 2x minus 3. 2x minus 3. And then I'm going to look at my graph, and remember, I want to use my values -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And let's see, when x is -2, y is -7, then it's -5, -3, -1, then it's 1. So now I can plot these points. Let's see, 2, 1, 1, -1, 0, negative 3, negative 1, negative 5, and negative 2, negative 7. So when you do that, you can draw your line, and remember, when you draw your line, it must have arrows on both sides, and it must, oh, let me see if I can stretch that out for you, cross all the way from one side of the graph to the other side, or one side of the grid to the other side of the grid. Alright, that's what that looks like. So now we can do number 5, and let me show you a different way to graph number 5. So if we have our slope, and right here we know our slope is 1/2, and our y-intercept, the b value, is negative 4. So I can go to my y-axis and I can go to negative 4 and put a point. There's negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4 right there. Now, I can look at my slope, and this says it's positive 1/2, which means I can go up 1 and then right 2. Up 1, right 2. The top one tells me my vertical change, my bottom, my horizontal change. Up 1, over 2. Now if I need to, I can follow my pattern, and I could go down 1, left 2, down 1, left 2, and I can just keep plotting like that. And then of course I'm going to put in my point, or my line, excuse me, and make sure it goes all the way across. I'm going to let you do number 6 on your own. Let me do number 7. And if I do number 7, the unique thing about this is whatever point that I plot, the y value has to be 4. So I can go up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can put my point right there. And since we know that y always equals 4, I can just keep putting points on that line. So remember, y equals, and then a number will give you a horizontal line. Y equals, and then only a number, no x, will give you a horizontal line. That it's still a function, but it's horizontal. Now let me show you on number 8. I want to go back to the way we plotted one on what was it, number 5. I can write here my m value is negative 2 over 3. I got that right here. It's the coefficient of x. My b value is positive 5. Okay, so B is for beginning. So I'm going to begin at number 5 on the y-axis. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Going to put that point right there. Now this is negative 2 over 3. And if you read it like that, negative 2 over 3. So if I start here and I go negative 2, there's 1, 2 down, because I'm subtracting 2. And then over 3, and I always like to start to the right, 1, 2, 3, just like that. Negative 2, so I'm going to subtract 2 over 3. Okay? And then I can reverse my pattern. If I make it positive 2, then I need to go left 3. 1, 2, 3. And you'll notice if they're coming out in a straight line and you're working on linear functions, then you are doing it properly. If it comes out into a nice straight line like that. Oh, that did not quite come out where I wanted it to land. Let's see if we can move it there. There we go. All right, now number 9. We've talked about this one before, but you must know it. Whenever you see y equals x, what that means is this is the parent function. Parent function for linear functions. All right, and what that means, y equals x, is whatever the x value is, that's what the y value is. So if my x value is 0, then my y value is 0. That's right there. X value is 1, like this. And then we're just going to go up. If you notice, it splits quadrant 1 exactly in half. It splits quadrant 3 exactly in half. And it is a positive correlation. It goes up from left to right. And on a square, only when it's square, grid system, it will be at a 45-degree angle. Oh. Now, I don't like the way that one came out. So let's put in our shape again. So your line should be, if it's a square grid, then it's going to be at a 45-degree angle. And it'll look like that. All right. Number 10, 11, and 12, I would like you to do on your own. For 13, 14, 15, and 16, these are lines, and we have to find the equation for the line on the graph. So let me do number 16 for you. So number 16, I see crosses at 5. And I'm going to write out the way I'm thinking here so that you can kind of visualize what I'm talking about. So number 16, I'm going to write my m equals and b equals. Okay, and let's see, number 16, if I look at it, it crosses my y-axis right there at 5. So my beginning point, B, is 5. Now I'm going to find another point where it crosses exactly through the corner of a box. And it looks like this right here. Crosses through the corner of that box. So I'm going to find my vertical change, and this is a positive slope. Notice it's going up from left to right. So to go from here, I need to go up 2, and I'm going right 1. So my slope is 2 over 1, which is 2. So when I write, my 1 disappeared on 16. When I write my equation, I'm going to write y equals 2x, and then this will be plus 5. And of course what I'm going to do is write that here, y equals 2x plus 5. Your job is to fill in the remainder of your notes.